The first yoga asana I would like you to try combines the two processes. I warn you, it is not one of the easier ones, but because of its value you should persevere and try to master it. Yoga is a perpetual challenge for thinking people. Anything easily gained is lightly prized, so when you have mastered the forward bend or PASCHIMOTTANASANA, you will feel that you have really achieved something. As usual, I will describe the easiest variation first. Forward bend. Lie flat on your back, hands at your sides and feet together. Keeping your legs straight and your heels on the floor, slowly raise your trunk from the waist until you are in a sitting position. Stretch out your arms, bend forward, and grasp your toes with your fingers. If you cannot reach your toes, grasp your calves or ankles until you have limbered up your spine enough to be able to bend it more fully and reach your toes easily. Bring your forehead down until you can press it against your knees. Did I hear you say, impossible? Most people say that, but if you take a quick look at figure 20, you will see that it is not only entirely possible but actually rather easy when you can once do it. But your spine is too stiff at the moment, is it not? To perform this kind of bending, so be content at this stage to bring your forehead as close to your knees as you can, even if this means only a slight inclination of your head. If you proceed slowly and gently, you will find that your spine will gradually loosen up, your head will be able to go lower, and soon you will be able to press your face to your knees. 4. Remain in this position for as long as you comfortably can, and then very slowly bring your arms down to your sides, straighten up, and lower your body to the floor again until you are in the starting position. Lie there and relax for a few moments and attempt the Paschimottanasana only once more. Twice a day is enough at first. As you gradually become used to this exercise, try to extend the period when your head is on your knees, in which case you need only perform this asana once. Once you get used to the forward bend and can do it tolerably well, proceed as follows, which incorporates the yoga breathing as well. Lie flat, take a deep breath, and at the same time sit up. While exhaling, bend forward and grasp your toes, ankles, or calves. Figure 19, page 73. Bring your forehead onto your knees without inhaling again. The extreme bend will force all the air out of your lungs. Lower your elbows to the floor as in figure 20 and remain thus for as long as you can without breathing. When the impulse to inhale appears, do so while straightening up slowly. When you have completed your inhalation, slowly lie down until you are in the starting position. Remain relaxed for a few moments and take a few deep recovery breaths. This exercise is a more advanced form of the head to knee exercise which I described in chapter 5. If you can perform the head to knee successfully, the forward bend will not give you too much difficulty. Its benefits are many. It gives the maximum of bending capacity to the body and at the same time imparts a stimulating pressure on the viscera. In stretching the spinal column to the greatest degree, it helps to relieve and prevent sciatica and lumbago. Like the head to knee posture, it tones up sluggish bowels and helps to promote better elimination, thereby being a cleansing and purifying exercise which will help to rid the body of the impurities which cause pain and disease. For this reason, it is practiced in the higher stages of yoga, for its spiritual values, for spiritual purity is closely linked to physical purity. There is a standing variation of the forward bend which some of you might like to try. It is possibly slightly more difficult for the beginner as the support of the floor is removed from the legs, but the value of the posture is greatly enhanced by the extra effort involved. Stand up straight with your hands at your sides. Inhale deeply. Slowly raise your arms above your head but without joining your fingers. Remain thus until you have completed your inhalation. While exhaling, bend forward from the waist and place your palms just below your calves. As you complete your exhalation, press your head against your knees as I have demonstrated in figure 35. Remain thus until the impulse to inhale appears. Straighten up as you inhale, and complete your inhalation with your spine erect and your hands at your side. Perform this asana only once or twice at first, and do not under any circumstances try to force your muscles in any way. The forward bend is one of the yoga exercises which helps to keep old age at bay. Many yogis live to be well over 100 years old yet still look young and remain active. When asked their secret, they will tell you, a man is only as old as his spine. Keep this saying in mind and vow to remain supple and active for all of your life and not just for a third of it. Before we leave the forward bend, I would like to describe the advanced form of it used by really enthusiastic students. They do not catch the toes with their fingers, instead they rest their forearms on the toes with the elbows straight. The hands are held palm to palm, and the head is then pressed to the knees as before. Advanced students, or the most supple among you, might like to try another forward bending exercise which brings the maximum flexibility to the lumbar region and its ligaments. It is called Upavishta Konasana, or in English the prism posture. Sit down on the floor with your legs outstretched. While inhaling deeply, move your legs as wide apart as possible. Catch your toes with your outstretched hands, and while exhaling very slowly bend your head until it is touching the floor. Remain thus for as long as you can without breathing. When the impulse to inhale appears, do so, and at the same time raise your head and bring your legs together again. After this exercise, lie down on the floor and relax. After the forward bend and the prism posture, here is something easier. It is called the wedge posture, and it is particularly beneficial if it is performed after any forward bending exercise because it stretches the body in exactly the opposite direction and so relieves tension in the muscles. Wedge posture. Sit down on the floor with your legs outstretched, feet together. Place your hands behind you, palms down, and your fingers pointing away from your body. Adjust the position of your hands according to your personal build and capabilities, and then raise your body, keeping it as straight as possible until you are resting on your heels and your hands. Your body is now shaped like a wedge. Remain as this for a few seconds, and then relax. Repeat 3 or 4 times. Remember to perform the wedge posture if you feel any tension in your muscles after a forward bending exercise. It stretches, umbers, and strengthens the lumbar region and its ligaments. And now here is something new for you to try if you have sciatica. Tone up your sciatic nerve first with the forward bend, loosen those knotted muscles with the wedge posture, and then sit down to do the GOMUKASANA, a bull posture. Many yoga asana are named after animals, and it is usually easy to see why, but where for the bull posture? If you will look at figure 23, perhaps it will explain. My feet are arranged on either side of me rather like the horns of a bull. Don't you think? This Sanskrit name is sometimes translated as cow face posture, but I feel that aesthetically it is all wrong to give this rather graceful posture such a name. Still, names are not that important. What matters is to relieve your sciatica, so let us begin. Bull posture. Sit down on the floor, spine straight and legs outstretched. Bend your right leg and place it over the left one with your right heel against your left hip. Bend your left leg and place your left heel against your right hip. You are now in the position I am. This Sanskrit name is sometimes translated as cow face posture, but I feel that aesthetically it is all wrong to give this rather graceful posture such a name. Still, names are not that important. What matters is to relieve your sciatica, so let us begin. Bull posture. Sit down on the floor, spine straight and legs outstretched. Bend your right leg and place it over the left one with your right heel against your left hip. Bend your left leg and place your left heel against your right hip. You are now in the position I am demonstrating in figure 23 with your right leg uppermost. Hold this position for as long as you comfortably can, and then change over your legs so that your left is uppermost. You will feel the stretch imparted to the sciatic nerve in the leg which is uppermost. If your sciatica is very painful, I hope you will not try to force your legs where they will not easily go, as this would cause you a great deal of pain and discomfort. Slowly and gently is the word here. Practice a little each day and you will soon be able to execute a beautiful bull posture. If any part of your leg or hip aches when you attempt this asana, this can be strongly massaged with your fingers to bring relief. If you proceed with extreme caution, this asana, more than any other with the possible exception of the forward bend, will loosen the sciatic nerve and restore elasticity. If you do not suffer from sciatica, regular practice of the bull posture will ensure that you never do. Your muscles in the lower half of the back will be strengthened, so sufferers from lumbago will also find the bull posture of great value. When, after careful practice, you can perform this asana to your liking and can hold it in comfort for several minutes, while you hold it, practice deep breathing with your eyes closed and your spine held straight. You will find it a valuable exercise in the calming of the mind, and this calmness should be reflected in the serene expression of the face. The next stage of the bull posture involves the arms and shoulders. As you sit comfortably in this seated posture, raise the hand corresponding to your leg which is uppermost and bring it behind your shoulder. At the same time, bend the other arm backwards and upwards and join your fingers together. Proper execution of this movement will develop your trapezoidal muscles and prevent bursitis and arthritis of the shoulders. It may take a little practice for you to be able to join your hands together in this novel way, but do go slowly and you will soon succeed. It is well worth a little effort. The squatting pose which I described in chapter 5 will also bring relief to sufferers from lumbago and sciatica. Though not a beautiful posture, it is an invaluable one. Yoga, as a general rule, is as graceful as ballet dancing in its static grace as opposed to the fleeting movements of ballet, but the ancient yogis in their wisdom did not omit several ungraceful postures for the sake of the body's health and well-being. Such a one is the squatting pose, and there are several others scattered about in these pages. They are included for a very good reason, so do not omit them because of their lack of aesthetic appeal. But now, to make up for the ungainly squat which will greatly help your lumbago and sciatica, here is an equally beneficial one which has all the bizarre grace of the insect from which it takes its name. Salabhasana or she locust posture. Lie face downwards, chin touching the floor, hands along your sides, palms either clenched or flat on the floor. While inhaling deeply, raise your right leg as high as you possibly can, pressing into the ground with your clenched fists or flattened palms to give yourself more leverage. I have demonstrated the correct position in figure 22, page 77. Hold this position as you complete your inhalation and then slowly lower your leg as you exhale. Repeat with the other leg. Keep the raised leg as straight as you can and perform this asana 6 times in all, 3 times with each leg. When you have practiced with alternate legs for a few days, try the full locust posture, which involves the raising of both legs simultaneously as in figure 21. This variation of the locust posture is much more difficult, but the added effort involved greatly enhances the benefits of this valuable posture. It has the added benefit of toning and strengthening the muscles and organs of the abdomen, as well as bringing relief from our 2 antagonists of this chapter. When you can perform the full locust posture, hold it for as long as you comfortably can while holding your breath. Repeat up to 6 times a day. The next posture I would like you to try is deceptively simple. Called the frog pose. It is performed simply by kneeling on the floor, knees together and feet apart, and then sitting on the floor between your feet. Simple, did I say? I can hear you saying it is impossible. Not only is it possible, but if you look at figure 53, you will see it in its extreme form when the body is bent backwards with the legs in this position until the head touches the floor. This is called the kneeling bridge posture. So if this is feasible, how much more easy is the simple frog pose? So do practice it and your sciatica will gradually succumb to its nerve tugging, muscle toning persuasion. I would like to refer you once again to chapter 5, in which one have described the yoga mudra. This exercise has very many benefits, and not the least of these is its effect on the spinal column and the muscles on either side of it. For the relief of lumbago, you would do well to practice it until you can perform it to perfection and hold it for some time. Remember to do deep yoga breathing while in this position and straighten up as soon as you begin to feel the slightest strain. In the 2 complaints with which this chapter is concerned, it is of vital importance that you do not strain any nerve or muscle. Once again I reiterate the words, slowly and gently. I cannot mention the Yoga Mudra twice in this book without telling you of the spiritual values it confers. Although we are primarily concerned in this book with improving the health, let us never forget that the practice of Hatha Yoga cannot but have a beneficial effect on the mind and spirit. Yoga Mudra, one of the basic yoga asana, is essentially a cleansing exercise, both of the system and of the mind. Students in the advanced stages of yoga remain in this position for as long as an hour or more. I am not asking you to attempt such a feat of endurance, but I would like you to experience the effects of just a few quiet moments spent in sitting in this posture, when you can do it, that is. I am aware that for some of you this will take some time. But as you straighten up, you will experience a new clarity of vision, a new awareness, and a heightened sense of power and well-being. You will, as you come to learn more and more yoga asana, adopt your own particular favorites, and I have heard from many people that Yoga Mudra is one of the most popular yoga asana. Not an easy one, but how worthy it is of your time, your patience and your endeavor. And now, to end this chapter, I will describe one of the most beautiful and dramatic postures in the entire yoga range. Strikingly graceful, it is worthy of a place in the most classical of ballets. Called Anjaneyasanasana in English, the wing posture, it makes the human body into a living poem of static grace and at the same time limbers up the muscles of the lower back, the thighs, and the shoulders. But as it is one of the most beautiful, so it is one of the most difficult to perform perfectly, though beginners will be able to perform it in a modified way with little difficulty. I include it in this book because it is far too beautiful to be left out, and also because to sufferers from lumbago and sciatica it is of great and lasting benefit. Anjaneyasana, or the wing posture. Kneel down with your feet together. Your body should be straight from the knees upwards. Place your right foot on the floor so that the upper leg is at right angles to the lower leg. Stretch your left leg back as far as possible, keeping the knee on the ground. Try to reach a little farther back with your leg each time you practice this asana. Raise your hands above your head with the fingers touching, and palms together. Very slowly bend your spine and your head backwards. When performed correctly, this asana requires the outstretched leg, the spine and the arms to form a semicircle. Viewed from the side, this yoga posture looks like the flight of some graceful and powerful bird. Please exercise very great care when bending your body backwards and do not try to force any of your muscles beyond their capacity. With practice they will loosen up and you will not experience any painful cramp in your shoulders and thighs. Beginners to yoga, particularly those of you who are not used to taking exercise, may well find that your muscles are a little sore the day after you start. Do not exercise these muscles for a day or two, but give them a rest as you try something different. So if after attempting the wing posture your shoulders are a little stiff the next day, then do some other exercise which involves another part of the body. The study of Hatha Yoga in general will increase your natural patience so that, in time, you will be content to learn and improve slowly and not expect dramatic results in next to no time. The study of yoga requires infinite patience, but in studying it you will gradually develop the patience you need. One cannot make this statement in connection with any other form of physical culture, which proves once again that Hatha Yoga, though its province is primarily the physical body, is very much a mental discipline as well. Chapter 8. Asthma, bronchitis, and hay fever. Invariably the first question I am asked about yoga is, do you stand on your head every morning? To the uninitiated, the standing on the head represents the sum total of yoga, and it is thereupon dismissed as a foible of cranks and crackpots. Not one person in 100 asks me why I stand on my head. In fact, it does not cross the mind of the average person that it could possibly have any therapeutic value or indeed any value at all except to establish one as an eccentric. But if radiant good health is the lot of those who practice this headstand, then long live eccentricity, say I. But the headstand or Sirshasana has not been called the king of asana for nothing. You may wonder why I have waited until I reached more than halfway through this book before introducing you to this best known of all yoga postures. Simply for the very good reason that it is difficult for the beginner to master, and I wanted you to limber up with some easier exercises before attempting to balance on your head. I place the king of asana in this chapter on disorders of the respiratory tract because in the relief and cure of such ailments as asthma, bronchitis, hay fever, nose troubles, and sinus troubles it has no equal. Sinusitis and allied complaints often produce severe headaches and acute discomfort in the cavities of the nose and face. It is difficult for doctors to reach these sinuses except by painful and unpleasant means, and nasal sprays are of little use as the openings of the cavities are on the upper side and can only be drained when the body is inverted. This is where yoga, and particularly the headstand, is of great help. So now let us try the preliminary stages. The headstand. 1. Kneel down, sit back on your heels with your hands on your knees and then bend forward until your forehead touches the floor just in front of your knees. Remain in this position for a few moments and then slowly straighten up. The purpose of this simple exercise is to accustom the head to being lower than the body. If you experience any dizziness, please straighten up immediately and proceed with extreme caution until you are able to remain with your head down without experiencing the slightest discomfort. When you wish to go a stage further, proceed as follows. 2. Kneel down as before. Lace your fingers together and clasp your hands round the back of your head. Bend forward until your forehead touches the floor, approximately 12 inches away from your knees as in figure 24. Press the upper part of your body forward a few times, which will gradually accustom your head and neck to the unfamiliar pressure. Do not attempt the next stage until you can perform stage 2 without any discomfort. 3. In stage 3, you bring a little more of your weight onto your head and arms by straightening your legs with your heels off the ground as I have demonstrated in figure 25. Remain in this position for as long as you comfortably can and under no circumstances remain so if you are still experiencing any dizziness. Caution: in the early stages of the headstand will put you safely and confidently on your head. 4. After practicing the first 3 stages carefully, you are now ready to let your feet leave the ground. I always advise beginners to the headstand to practice this and the following stages in a corner so that you have the support of the 2 walls. When you gain in confidence, you can practice it against one wall and after that in the middle of the room. Meanwhile, let us return to stage 4.1. Advise you to put down a small pad or folded blanket for your head from now on. The pressure on the crown of your head is going to be considerable, especially in stages 5 and 6, and while yoga asana can sometimes be undeniably strenuous, even the most stoical of gurus, yoga masters, would not wish to inflict any physical suffering on you. So I will wait while you bring that pad for your head. Ready? Right. Now kneel down in your corner with your hands laced behind your head. Adopt the position in figure 24. Raise yourself onto your toes but without straightening your legs. Walk on your toes for a couple of steps to bring your knees nearer to your face and then, with your knees bent, give a little hop off the ground with both legs. You will find that your feet will leave the ground easily, but they will also drop back equally easily. Be patient, you are more than halfway there. Make no attempt to go farther, as this is the stage in the proceedings when students try to achieve too much in a hurry with sometimes unpleasant results. So perform this hopping off the ground 3 or 4 times and then straighten up for a rest. There is an alternate way of performing stage 4 which some of you might find somewhat easier. Proceeding from the position in figure 24, rise onto your toes without straightening your legs and bring your knees nearer to your face as before. But this time, instead of trying to hop off the ground, very slowly press your body forwards until you can feel your toes leave the ground. Keep your body hunched up in a ball whichever method you adopt. If you do not, you will be almost certain to overbalance at this stage. Practice stage 4 until you can make your toes leave the ground 3 times in succession. You will then, I hope, feel confident enough to proceed to stage 5. 5. This stage is an intensification of the last one. While I told you in stage 4 not to attempt anything beyond getting your toes to leave the ground for a brief instant, in this stage 1 would like you to increase the effort which you put into the whole movement until very gradually your body becomes less likely to drop back immediately. Proceed very slowly at this stage and remember at all times to keep your body rolled up into a ball with your knees well bent. Practice this stage frequently, but do not prolong your efforts to the point when you begin to tire. It is far better to practice stage 5 only half a dozen times at once. You can go back to it later when you have had a short rest. Stage the 5th of may be frustrating in the extreme to you when you are impatient to rise into the headstand, but I assure you that if you have been practicing the preliminary stages properly in a shorter time than you imagine, you will find that your body does not drop back to the ground as you expected, but remains poised at the halfway mark. Your knees will sail up right past your head and you will find, if you keep perfectly still and don't jerk about in sheer surprise, that you will be able to remain so for a few seconds. Now you are really getting somewhere. But again, I must ask you to be patient and please not to try and straighten your legs. Be content, just for a little while longer, to keep your knees bent and your body rolled up into a ball and to aim for this all-important and controlling halfway position. You will not find it particularly comfortable, but you will feel safe and confident if you practice in a corner so that there is no danger whatever of you overbalancing or falling. The pad under your head will add greatly to your comfort when you are able to remain immobile at the halfway point for a second or two. Proceed as follows. When you either take your jump off the ground or press your body forward to make your feet leave the ground, do so with more force than you have hitherto been using, so that instead of stopping at the halfway point you will swing your legs right over and with your knees still bent your feet will touch the wall as I have demonstrated in figure 26. You will find this stage very easy if you have been practicing properly, and you will be able to remain in this position for a full minute or more without the slightest effort or discomfort. Come down, please, as soon as you feel the slightest strain on your head, neck, or shoulders. In this last and final stage of the headstand, you have three alternatives, according to your individual capabilities. I will describe first what is generally considered to be the easiest method. While balanced as in figure 26, very gradually tuck in your buttocks, bring your feet away from the wall, and at the same time very slowly straighten your legs. Your feet will swing right back to the wall at first, but do practice straightening your legs even if at first you cannot manage without resting your feet against the wall. Having got so far with the headstand, you will find that this final stage is the slowest of all. I know it is frustrating, but once you can do the headstand, you will have it for life, so it is worth a little of your time and patience now, is it not? The second method is as follows. Proceed from the position in figure 26, but this time straighten your legs while keeping your feet against the wall. You will be in a kind of headstand at once by this method, but why I do not favor it as much as the other one is that in this position your spine is uncomfortably arched instead of being held naturally, and because it shows quick results, students tend to rely on this method and become so used to the support of the wall that they have difficulty afterwards in doing the headstand without it. So really the second method takes more time in the long run. The third method is as follows. Proceed from the hunched up halfway position and, instead of swinging your feet over to touch the wall, very slowly, half inch by half inch straighten your legs. You will wobble, you will fall all over the place, you will drop back to the ground like a stone, and you will probably become convinced that you will never make it at all, but again take heart and keep practicing. Patience is the only way, and one day you will find that, instead of bouncing back to the floor as you expected, you will remain poised on your head and arms with your body as straight as a candle, as in figure 27, page 83. I must warn you that, like so many others, when you first find that you can do the headstand, you will be so surprised that you will probably overbalance and have to come down quickly out of sheer amazement. It is rather like learning to ride a bicycle. When you finally find yourself gaily pedaling along without someone propping you up, you look around, find you have left your friend far behind, and promptly fall off in sheer horror. So while you are still flushed with your first success, try your headstand again. This time you will find that you can control your muscles to such an extent that you will be able to rise slowly into a beautiful headstand. There you are. You finally made it. Congratulations. Remember that when you are practicing, to keep your body rolled up into a ball with your knees near your face, both going up and coming down. When you can do a perfect headstand, it will be of more benefit to you to perform it several times a day for short periods, say 5 or 10 minutes at a time, rather than to indulge in long spells of half an hour or more. There is some controversy on this point, but I favor the little and often method as being not only more beneficial but also more practical for the business person or busy housewife. Hatha yoga is nothing if not down to earth and practical. The variations of the headstand are many, and the adventurous among my readers might like to try a few, though please apply the same care in each case when coming down. Roll your body into a ball and so avoid spills. Variation 1. Your hands, instead of being laced behind your head, are kept separate. As you rise into the headstand, the hands should be flat on the floor, palms downwards, about 6 inches on either side of your head. While in this position, you may either straighten your legs as already described, or bend your knees and place the soles of your feet together. This stretches the muscles of the shoulders and thighs. Variation 2. In the above position, the legs are crossed at the knees and again at the ankles. This tones and stretches the muscles of the thighs and legs and helps to relieve varicose veins. Variation 3. Again in the above position with the hands on either side of the head, stretch your legs as wide apart as possible until you are doing the splits upside down. Variation 4. Here the hands are in a different position. Before you rise into the headstand, raise your arms above your head with the elbows bent, with your hands grasping the opposite forearms. Now rise into position and keep your legs straight up in the air. Variation 5. Perform the classical headstand with the hands laced at the back of the head, and then, with your feet together, bring your legs forward until they are at right angles to your body. Variation 6. This is one of the most advanced yoga asana called Padmasana, or the headstand lotus pose. While in the headstand, fold your legs into the lotus pose and remain thus for as long as you can. This one is not for the beginner, but the practiced student will find it surprisingly easy. Variation 7. If you can perform the headstand lotus position, you can proceed a step farther. While in this position, twist the body from the waist to the right, to the left, and so on from side to side. This exercises the muscles of the waistline and shears off fat in this area. Variation 8. Still in the headstand lotus pose, bring your crossed legs down until your body is bent double. This needs a special care when you are coming out of it. Do so as follows. Straighten your body first, uncross your legs, stretch them up in the air, bend your knees, and descend with safety. Variation 9. Though I could take up a whole chapter on describing the many variations of the headstand, I will make this the last one because I would like you to go on to something else which many of you will find a little easier. In this variation of the headstand, the first and last variations are combined. Here the hands are placed on either side of the head, the legs are then crossed in the lotus position and the legs are brought down until the body is bent double. Again, please take care when coming out of the position. Benefits of the headstand. This asana affects 4 of the most important endocrine glands: the pituitary, the pineal, the thyroid, and the parathyroids. The regular practice of the headstand helps to relieve insomnia, tension, nervousness and anxiety, poor circulation of the blood, asthma, bronchitis, sinusitis, hay fever, headaches, female disorders, and lack of energy. It is because of its many benefits and because it affects the most important gland in the body, the pituitary, that the headstand has been called the king of asana. A word of warning, though. If you suffer from high blood pressure, palpitations, chronic constipation, chronic nasal catarrh, or weak eyes, please do not attempt the headstand. Cure your complaints by other yoga exercises first, but in the case of asthma, bronchitis, and hay fever 89 high blood pressure, I do not recommend it under any circumstances. Having just described, in this chapter on disorders of the respiratory tract, one of the most difficult of the yoga asana, I will now describe a really easy one which will present not the slightest difficulty. It is an invaluable exercise for sufferers from these complaints because it allows full expansion of the lungs while doing deep breathing, and at the same time the inverted position helps to drain congested cavities. It is called the letter L breathing exercise. Letter L breathing exercise. Facing a convenient wall, lie down on your back and place your feet as high up the wall as you possibly can, keeping your legs straight. Stretch out your arms above your head, without joining the fingers, and hold them palms upwards and elbows straight. Your body is now in the shape of a letter L as in figure 28, page 91. Perform the deep, slow, complete breath while in this position. Take as many breaths as you have time for, but not less than 10 at a time. Do not use force in at the end of each exhalation. Pull in your abdomen slightly to expel the last small amount of air from your lungs. This exercise will not only help to bring relief from asthma, bronchitis, sinusitis, and hay fever, but the inverted posture will bring calmness to your mind. Having had an easy time of it with the letter L breathing exercise, try now another exercise which incorporates breathing, stretching, and in its advanced stages, a high degree of balance. It is the beautiful mountain posture, or Parvatasana in Sanskrit. Mountain posture. There are 4 variations of this posture and I will describe them in order of difficulty. Variation 1. Kneel down and hold your body straight up from the knees to the top of your head. Raise your arms above your head and hold them palm to palm while keeping your elbows as straight as you can. Practice the yoga complete breath while in this position and remember not to let your body sag and to keep your tummy muscles pulled well in. Variation 2. Sit down in the lotus pose. Raise your hands above your head with your fingertips touching as in figure 31. Holding your body very still and without letting your arms sag, again practice the yoga complete breath. Keep this up for as long as you can, but if you feel any discomfort in your legs, please undo them. Variation 3. This increases the stretch of the dorsal muscles while you are performing the deep breathing. While seated in the lotus pose, lace your fingers together and turn them palms upwards. Now raise your arms as far above your head as you can and you will feel a powerful stretch along your sides. This intensifies the benefits of this asana. I have demonstrated the correct position in figure 30, page 91. Variation 4. This is one of the most spectacular of the yoga asana and is for more advanced students. Although this is primarily a book for beginners to the subject, I did not want to leave out this 4th variation of the mountain posture in case some of you might feel up to trying it. It is not easy, but the practice of it will help you to acquire balance and patience. While sitting in the lotus pose with your hands above your head with the fingertips touching as in figure 31, raise your buttocks off the floor and remain balanced on your kneecaps as one have demonstrated in figure 29. To the adventurous among you who attempt it, I would say please go carefully and do not strain any of your muscles. You will achieve nothing by forcing your unwilling muscles where they would rather not go. Your best way to master variation 4 is to practice the other 3 until perfect, and then, while supporting yourself with a conveniently placed chair or low table, you can gently pull yourself onto your kneecaps and then let go of the chair or table. It will tax your sense of balance to the utmost, but practice will be the answer. While poised on your kneecaps with your arms above your head, practice the yoga complete breath. The effort needed for the perfection of this advanced posture will greatly improve your powers of concentration, and in addition to the benefits to the muscles of the arms and torso, the deep breathing will help congested lungs and bronchial tubes, and the posture tones up the entire nervous system.